Cocoville Tuesdays. Yay, episode 4. Let's go. All right. So it's been a month. And I'd say it's gone pretty well. I mean, it's been a month for you. It's been 3 hours for me doing these first four. And I just want it to be over at this point. So, main things that are going to happen in this, we're already starting on construction of this other kind of half of the two subdivisions that I made. It'll be high density as well. Expansion of the offices that I started and kind of just wrapping around the water a bit. And I also experiment with a water dam for about, I don't know, half the video trying to get it to work, and it just does it spoiler alert, it doesn't work. I don't know how, like, it must work for somebody somewhere, but I just can never get them to really do what I want. Water in this is so strange. But yeah, voice is really getting hit hard. I just finished a bag of popcorn between episode 3 and 4, and I got all those little like pieces of the popcorn kernel skin all in my mouth, and my mouth feels like I chewed on broken glass at this point, and my throat. So my voice is probably going to be gone after this. I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll stream today. No, that's not going to happen now with my voice already this ruined. But yeah, the other thing I wanted to try and do, just continuing on from last episode, when we got our town upgrade, we unlocked trains. And trains I almost never plan ahead properly for, including this time. So I noticed I had this little patch of land down here, and I figured, well, for now, because the only railroad is way to the north, I don't have it unlocked. So I figured I'll use this little area, and it has like really high noise rating. So I figured, well, I'll put both down here, so they're kind of out of the way. And then I just left them for a little bit, but I'll come back to them later on and actually get them set up. I wanted the cargo one down there anyways, because that's where my industrial tends to go for all the ore, but the passenger one, I just put it down there because I had a line going down there anyways with the cargo one. So other than that, right now we're just adding metro lines, and just there's gonna be some budget fiddling to make sure that there's enough trains per people. It'd be nice if there were different types of trains, kind of like there are with buses, but I guess a subway is kind of just a subway is a subway, basically. Unless it's a Subway Eat Fresh Subway #ad. Just kidding. They don't pay me. That was free. You're welcome, Subway. Yeah, kind of running out of things to say just for like the sake of having done 4 videos. It's hard to figure out what I've said and what I haven't said. You can see I placed a little more offices there along the water. I basically wanted waterfront office space. That's usually what I try and do. It helps the land value, I think, and stuff like that. So yeah, we do end up kind of, well, we expand quite a bit actually. I buy more land here in this video, so you'll see that shortly. But right now I'm kind of just trying to focus on 1, getting the railway working, and 2, getting the offices up to a decent land value, so they'll actually go to level 3. The railway, I couldn't actually get it back out without it going in the water, so I had to put it underground, and then I kind of forgot about it for a while. Because, yeah, you can see I'm looking way up top, so I just bought the area that had the railway, and then I bought the land below as well. I ran out of money because it's so far away. I bought the square underneath as well, so that I can go all the way around the water and also access the highway that's down there. So yeah, this is where I try and start with the dam, and it tells you, it's going kind of quick so you can't see, but it tells you the cost and the estimated power energy production. That's a lie. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I just did it wrong or what, but I've never had luck with them. Yeah, I kind of switch back to offices. It's like I have ADHD, but it's because it's 4 times speed. That's why. I didn't have enough money for the dam, so I was saving up till I had about 65,000. So yeah, you're gonna. I'm still having trouble with that oil power plant. Same issue. So that's swell. And I noticed that I was looking for oil. I was just going full America, looking for that. But yeah, I didn't end up finding it. Well, I did, but it was so far away. It was kind of pointless. Sorry about that. I had to cut. Hopefully this is smooth. Um, so yeah, this is where I try and make the hydroelectric. Yeah, so you can see I messed with the placements for quite a while. I went with one. I think the highest was supposed to be like 116 or something. And in theory, it looks like it's doing something. I sped it up. The water level went down, but then it kind of broke. The water level went really far down, and then the water was moving backwards. So I just went back and tried it again a bit further down to see if maybe that would work. But it doesn't make sense because it has to pass through it because the water is lower on the other side, but it doesn't register that. And then this one was working and then started overflowing. So I built a quay up to it to try and stop it from having water washing right over top of it. And it worked for a little while, and then it broke as well. It did the same thing where the water level went down, and then for some reason it thinks that there's no flow, even though obviously the water is gonna flow from this super high up pond to the lower river. So it worked for a little bit, and I tried putting a road in for it and stuff, but it didn't last very long. So I think we'll see here pretty shortly that I have energy problems, and then I look and it's just not doing anything. So it's not great. I need to figure out how you're supposed to actually use them, because you still need it to pick up a current, even though you don't need a current. You just need water higher at one end than the other. But the water system in this is so strange. But I made a couple more districts so I could apply different policies. I was hoping I could use one for the offices to make it a bit better. I did end up using the park upgrade one, so that made the land value better. I did mess up though. You can see that every single one of my districts now has the Industry 4.0, which it basically just makes it so higher educated people are expected for the jobs. And I wanted that for the ore one, but I didn't want it for the forestry one. And so you'll see there's now abandoned buildings in forestry. That's because everybody basically lost their job. All the low educated people. So it took me a little while to correct that. I'll probably start noticing it here shortly. Once I see that the whole thing is ruined. Yeah, you can see everything. I'm just moving the water supply stuff out of the way because I wasn't sure if that was causing the issue. So I got rid of those, but that wasn't what was doing it. It's just doing nothing, which makes no sense to me, but because it has the height difference, so it has to be working regardless of which way the water's flowing. And yeah, this is where I saw that Industry 4.0 was set up, so that whole area kind of got abandoned. And then I realized it was every single district had it, so I had to go around and change those. I renamed these Stonks and then I realized there was nothing for tier 2 subs or tier 1 subs for Twitch. I don't actually have a tier 1 thing yet. That hasn't been made. I did manage to get the trains set up, so that helped with the cargo, but it also kind of messed up my roads, which you'll see here shortly probably. Because all the trucks started coming down here, and it's just a dead-end road, so... And then I realized that there was nowhere for the passenger train to go, so I had to set that up. And the problem with trains is it's all two-way tracks, so they'll stop at a station and then go back the same way. So I'll probably have to change it to one way later. The problem is when you do one way, it's two one ways, like two lines going the same way. What I want is to have two and then have each one only be one way, but you can't do that, which is kind of annoying. But I got the water filtration places here, so that kind of helps the river not look as horrible, but still not great. And there's nothing else you can really do about it. And then I just kind of zoomed in on it. In my head, I was thinking forbidden chocolate milk. And then I didn't do it yet, but I end up just getting rid of this little system that's draining the river because it looks ridiculous. And it's not actually producing power, so. But I did also decide that I want to basically have offices all the way around that little pond thing. So you can see I started working on these roadways for that. And I think by the end of it, it actually ends up looking pretty decent. But yeah, the train went weird there. Instead of just making a road, it put a bridge. So I think I just left it, but I should probably go back and actually change that so it's not broken. The one thing I was worried about though, when I did get rid of the hydroelectric, I was worried that it would just break and all the water would go out of the lake and it would just look horrible. But thankfully, spoiler alert, it doesn't break. So we should be good. And I wanted to put a couple more unique buildings in because it's better to have them scattered like as you're building rather than trying to place them at the end because then you have to just wipe out everything. So I figured the Colossal Order office, it's a big one. It'll look good near the water. Same with the transport tower that I have there. So, and then I started running into an issue where I think I get rid of this now. Yeah, I do. And it takes a while, but thankfully the water level stays the same here and just kind of fills up the river. It takes a really long time for the river to fill up properly though. The water physics is definitely strange. I don't think I'm going to bother trying to put another one because it just drains the river and it doesn't really look good. But yeah, I kind of forget what I was saying before. Oh yeah, I put the taller, unique buildings around the water to try and give it a good waterfront because office buildings don't always get super tall, and I would like to have tall buildings around the waterfront. So if you're looking from in the water, it actually looks pretty decent. And yeah, I just moved all my water onto that river now, so I could get rid of those two and that help with the land value of the offices a little bit as well. Because the main thing that I want is just to get all the offices to level 3. And I think once I get the airport, that should help because it has a really large area that it covers with the bonus. So, and I did manage to get this block of offices kind of set up as well. So it's not in terrible shape. And then yeah, just trying to get the edge so it's half decent so I can actually build on it. It'd be nice to be able to do like proper waterfront where it just goes down to the water, but in this game, anywhere where there's water, it's basically just like a big hole. It's really steep to get down, so you can't really angle it right. I could probably mess around with terrain, but it would take a while. So I just put up these quays and build as close as I can, basically. But yeah, this is pretty much the end of where I have certainty of what's going to happen. I did realize that this roundabout was having a rough time, and that's when I saw, oh, they're stopping at all the stores, which wasn't great. Yeah, you can see some of these offices are really close to being done. I always save before I delete buildings just in case I feel too bad and have to redo them. But yeah, I think this is where I realized there were 2 different 6-lane roads, and I kind of had to go over all of them, but it would delete certain roads, so I didn't do it for the whole stretch of the offices. Yeah, do a little train watching here just to see if it actually comes through, and it seems like it's working, but they're only really coming from one direction. And I did a little bit of panning just to see kind of what it looked like at night, and I think it's starting to turn out pretty good. So I think once I have all the way around, it'll look really nice. And I'm trying to keep room for, like, I know I'm going to have an airport that's probably going to be beside the highway. And then I'm not sure if I can get ships into this little lake or if they would come through the river at the top. So I still have to figure that out, but I haven't done that yet. Like outside of this video either. I haven't actually played past this video, so I can't say for sure whether I've done stuff or not. And this was just me trying to figure out what I have to do for offices to get them up that last little bit. But I think again it's just going to end up being a whole bunch of bus stations and random stuff over and over again just for it to finally get there, because it seems like you can put everything you need down and it still won't do it sometimes. So usually if you overdo it and put duplicates of stuff, it works a little better. And this was a bit of a mess trying to get the metro line to go under the water. It wouldn't do it, so I had to actually bring it over top, which didn't look great. And then I ran into the issue of the regular railway lines were here, so I had to either go over or under or around them all the time just to make my, again, just trying to keep it as a loop that goes all the way around, which probably isn't great. It's great if you go one direction, but if you go the other way, it's probably really bad. So I might see about having two lines that go all, like, do the full circle but go in opposite directions, and that might help, because it's a long time between when you get to like stop number 2 and when you get all the way back around to stop number 1. There's a lot of people waiting, so. But I could just make more people. But yeah, there's tons of truck traffic that goes to that train cargo spot. So either I might have to move it or just redo the roads in that area, because it's kind of rough. And then yeah, I ended up just buying basically all the spots that I will end up having. I didn't realize, I forgot you can only have 5. So this area that's just been a pain this whole time, I decided I'd tear out. And it took me a little while to figure out how I was going to do it too. But yeah, all these buildings end up going. And that's basically what I end up with. I just do a roundabout that goes into the highway and then goes into the smaller roundabout. It's still not great what I have now. I still have to work on it a bit. But for now it works better at least. But yeah, there's no smooth way to get everything to merge together, really. Like, what I wanted was these 2 lanes to just go into the 3 other lanes, and then have the other 3 just go off onto the highway. But you end up with these intersections where you can turn from the off ramp back on the highway, which I didn't want, and I don't think there's any way around that, really. And then, yeah, I decided, well, I may as well just wrap it around now. I got a nice little bridge there, which ends up looking pretty nice, so I'm happy with that. But this I still end up modifying because, yeah, you can see it kind of bottlenecks. I did level up there, so I get the solar power station, which I end up putting on shortly after this, I think. After I figure out this area that just wasn't working. And then I realized, wait, it's a roundabout. You don't need just 4 spots for a roundabout. You can just have, as many as you want. So I did that, and now the system works a lot better, but this little roundabout beside it is still kind of jamming things up. And I kind of forgot on the top side to leave areas for highway access. So it's basically everything is coming through there, which is my main issue. So I made another highway access point down here. So hopefully the idea is that it'll kind of split the traffic and everyone coming from down here will just come up this way. Um, I haven't played it enough since I did this to know whether that actually worked. But yeah, getting these intersections that are pre-made in here kind of tricky. And this was another case of just trying to get it to merge right. Didn't really work. Which is ridiculous because if you're doing 3 lanes into 3 lanes, it should be fine. But I think that should work fine. It didn't have a lot of traffic when I played it enough that I would actually know what was going on with it, but and then I realized, well, I can just have all these trucks use this road, but you'll see shortly, I think that made things worse. Because now, instead of turning around where they were and going right in, they go all the way back up to that roundabout that I wanted them to stop using. So I'll have to keep messing with that probably in the next one, but and then I just built up more offices because I figured basically everything I can do to increase land value I've already done. So I just filled up some more offices, and then commercial was kind of in demand a little bit, so I just filled those up. And then yeah, after I remembered roundabouts you can just kind of add roads to, I did that. And then yeah, here I want another residential area, and I figured, well, I can just keep everything kind of round like the water is and just kind of follow that pattern, and I think it'll work decently well. So between offices, which were crazy in demand, and then residential, which I just wanted, I put more of those down in the corner there. And then I realized commercial was also kind of in demand, so I end up making an area for that. Yeah, right now. Same thing, another spot off the roundabout now that I remembered I could. And then, yeah, it's kind of a janky shape, so I put a one-way street there just to cover it, but I think it worked pretty well. I'm trying to think. I don't think I finished the circle this time, but I get fairly close. Yeah, I was looking at canals to see if there was something I could do to kind of make the water basically meet the land so it doesn't drop down like you can see it doing now. I couldn't find anything, so I just went with these quays. I always forget what they're called. But yeah, just to kind of smooth off the edge of the water and then eventually build on it. Or ideally have ships come through there, but I don't know if that'll work. But if it doesn't, I think they should be able to come through the river up at the top where I have my water stuff. So hopefully I get ships at 30,000 and then airport at 60,000 people, I think. So I'm fairly close to the ships. That should be coming up pretty soon. And then here I managed to get a couple offices up to max level. Not all of them, so I just kept adding all education stuff over again, basically. And then I realized, well, I should put more unique buildings. I still haven't put the stadium down, which I know is a big one. But I'm not sure if I want to put that near like an airport or something because it has a lot of tourism. And yeah, there's me actually zoning that high density commercial, so that whole area fills up really quick. It does run into an issue though that I built so many that they either run out of workers or customers. I can't remember, but it balances out later on, I think. So it should be fine. And here's just more paths. Every once in a while, I notice a spot where I didn't put any paths and then have to go back and fix it. But yeah, I think we've like this episode added a ton of stuff and just area in general It is a lot bigger now. And yeah, bus routes, they also helped upgrade things. Um, so yeah, I think if I just put more metro and more buses, I should be able to get the rest of the offices up to level 3. And then I just added districts for all of these, tried to keep uh, basically the different types together. So one for residential, one for commercial, one for offices or industrial. The great officing for the huge office area. Twitch chat for all the residential because they didn't have the representation yet. And then yeah, I put the solar plant so I can get rid of that. The oil one that was just constantly running out. I don't know if it had to do with me always being at 3 times, if that messed it up at all. I know one time one of the trucks just despawned when I went to 3 times. But it's just a pain, so I got rid of it. The solar will work a lot better anyways. It does a little bit more production, I think. So it's just better. And then eventually I'll have nuclear and I'll just get rid of all the rest. And it should be fine. I'm realizing now I should have taken a bathroom break between episode 3 and 4, but that's fine. I will truck through. I think we only got a couple minutes left anyways. We've done most of what we need to do. Now it's just kind of zoning, getting everything ready. And then, yeah, having to redo the metro. Trying to keep it as a circle is getting progressively more difficult. And every time I do it, I have to delete the line and redo it. But, I mean, it's working so far. I've tried to do it before, and sometimes it just does not work for me. But yeah, got a couple shots there. I think it ends up looking really good. If I get rid of that industry area there on the right, I think it'll look a lot better. But it's still good. It's going to be hard to pick one for the thumbnail on this, I think, though. I also added that arch. I'm not sure if you saw it, just for making the waterway look better. The bridge doesn't look bad, but then you just have the railway line that's unrealistically tall, so it's not great. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, we're almost out of time. Okay, thanks everyone.